Welcome to Learner's Prep. In this session, we'll solve some more problems based on the concept of time, speed, and distance. This is the third session on this topic of time, speed, and distance. So, till now we have solved 20 questions based on this topic. Now, we'll see question number 21. A car P leaves a town at 8 am and travels at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. After 3 hours, another car Q leaves the same town and travels in the same direction at 80 kilometers per hour. After how many hours from the time car Q starts, will it be 30 kilometers ahead of car P? So here car P and car Q. So car P leaves a town at 8 am and travels at a speed of 50 kilometers per hour. After 3 hours, another car Q leaves the same town and travels in the same direction. So here both the cars are moving in the same direction. So the relative speed is the difference of the speeds is the relative speed. So here let us find the relative speed here. So relative speed is the difference of the speeds. So speed of the second car is more 80 kilometers per hour minus speed of the first car P, that is 50. If you subtract, you will get 30 kilometers per hour. This is the relative speed of both the cars. Now, after 3 hours, car Q is starting. So, these 3 hours, car P is traveling a certain distance. So, distance traveled by car P in 3 hours. Because car P is starting early, car P in 3 hours. Car P in 3 hours. What is the distance traveled? Its speed is 50 kilometers per hour. In 3 hours, it will travel 150 kilometers. So, car Q has to cover this distance, 150 kilometers. Since they are moving in the same direction, their relative speed is 30 kilometers per hour. So, this 150 kilometers is covered in what time? So, 150 divided by 30. So, if you simplify, 31s, 35s. So, in 5 hours, so car P and car Q will meet each other in 5 hours. But our question is, after how many hours from the time car Q starts, will it be 30 kilometers ahead of car P? So, more 30 kilometers car Q has to cover. So, here itself directly you can take here car Q has to cover 150 plus 30. So, here itself directly you can add 30 here. 180 kilometers car Q has to cover. So, this 180 kilometers divided by relative speed 30. So, it will take 6 hours. Car Q will take 6 hours. After 6 hours, that car Q will be 30 kilometers ahead of car P. So, answer is option B is the correct answer. Question number 22. Two cars start simultaneously from cities X and Y and travel towards each other at the speeds of 40 kilometers per hour and 55 kilometers per hour respectively. At the time of meeting, the second car has traveled 120 kilometers more than the first car. What is the distance between X and Y? So the two cars are X and Y here. So they are traveling in the opposite direction. So since they are traveling in the opposite direction, their relative speed is sum of their speeds. So relative speed is sum of the speeds. So what are the speeds here? 40 and 55. So 40 and 55. So instead of finding the relative speed, we can use a inverse ratio, inverse relation concept also. So ratio of speeds we will find out. Ratio of speeds. So speed of the first car is 40. Speed of the second car is 55 kilometers per hour. So what is the ratio? 5 eights, 5 elevens. So 8 is to 11. Now speed and time, they are inversely proportional. But here the time is not mentioned here. The distance is given here. So the distance is ratio of distances. So speed and distance are directly proportional. So we'll take the same ratio, 8 is to 11. The second car has traveled 120 kilometers more than the first car. So that means the difference of distances, 11 minus 8 is 3 parts. So this 3 parts is equivalent to 120 kilometers. So 3 parts is equivalent to 120 kilometers according to the question. So what do we have to find out? The total distance. So the total distance is 8 plus 11. 8 plus 11, 19 parts. So total distance is 19 parts. So 19 parts is how much? So 19 parts is 120 by 3 multiplied by 19. So if you simplify this, 3 40s and 19 into 40 is 19 4s are 76. 760 kilometers. 760 kilometers is the distance between X and Y. The answer is 760. Option A is the correct answer. Question number 23. Two cyclists start simultaneously from towns P and Q and travel towards each other at speeds of 45 kilometers per hour and 75 kilometers per hour respectively. By the time they meet, the second cyclist has traveled 150 kilometers more than the first cyclist. What is the distance between towns P and Q? So this is the similar question as the previous one. So here also we have to find out the ratio of speeds. Ratio of speeds. What is the ratio of speeds? Here the ratio of the first cyclist is 45 and ratio speed of the second cyclist is 75. So if you simplify this, 15 threes, 15 fives. 3 is to 5 is the ratio of speeds. And this is the ratio of distances also. Ratio of distances is also the same ratio because speed and distance are directly proportional. So what is the next data given here? By the time they meet, the second cyclist has traveled 150 kilometers more than the first cyclist. So the difference is 5 minus 3. 2 parts. 2 parts is the difference. So this 2 parts is equivalent to 150 kilometers. 2 parts is equivalent to 150 kilometers. So what is our question? The total distance between P and Q. So the total distance is 3 plus 5, 8 parts. So how much is 8 parts we have to find out. So 8 parts. So 8 parts is 150 by 2 multiplied by 8. So if you simplify 2 fours, So 150 into 4 is 600 kilometers. So this is the distance between towns P and Q. So answer is 600 kilometers. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 24. On a circular track of length 120 meters, three runners P, Q and R start together from the same point. P runs clockwise at 12 meters per second, Q runs clockwise at 9 meters per second, R runs anti-clockwise at 15 meters per second. After how many seconds will all three runners meet together for the first time at the same point on the track? So here there is a circular track is there. So 120 meters length is the length of the circular track. So here we have to find out time taken by each runner for completing the one lap. So completing one circular round. So for runner P, so the speed is 12 meters per second. So the time taken by P, is 120 is the distance and his speed is 12 meters per second. So he will take 10 seconds to complete one lap. Next, Q. So total distance is 120 for the circular track. Speed is 9 meters per second. So 120 is not divisible by 9. This is 3 40s and 3 3s. 40 by 3 seconds. Next, R. So distance to be covered 120 meters and speed of R is 15 meters per second. So 120 by 15 is 8 seconds. So 8 seconds. So we need to find out LCM of all these three timings to find out the time when all the three meet on the circular track. So LCM of all these three timings, 10, 40 by 3 and 8. So since we have a fraction here, so we will write these also as fractions. So fraction LCM of fractions is LCM of the numerators by HCF of the denominators. So LCM of the numerators 10, 40 and 8 divided by HCF of the denominators. What are the denominators here? 1, 3 and 1. So if you simplify this, LCM of 10, 40 and 8. So 40 is divisible by both 8 and 10. So that itself is the LCM. By HCF of 1, 3 and 1 is 1 only. So if you simplify this, 40 seconds. So after 40 seconds, for every 40 seconds, after 40 seconds, first time all the three meet on the circular track. So 40 seconds is the answer. Option B is the correct answer. Question number 25. A security guard notices a cyclist 120 meters ahead. As soon as the guard starts chasing, the cyclist also starts moving. If the speed of the cyclist is 9 km per hour and the speed of the security guard is 12 km per hour, how far will the cyclist travel before being caught? So it is obvious that security guard and cyclist, both of them will move in the same direction because he is chasing. So to find out the relative speed, we have to subtract the speeds here. So let us find out the relative speed of the security guard and the cyclist. So relative speed is the speed of the security guard is speed of the cyclist is 9 kilometers per hour and security guard is 12 kilometers per hour. So 12 minus 9, 3 kilometers per hour. 3 kilometers per hour. This is the relative speed. So 120 meters is the distance to be covered by the security guard. So 120 meters is the distance to be covered. So 120 meters, and this 3 kilometers per hour we have to convert into meters per second. So multiply with 5 by 18. So to convert kilometers per hour to meters per second, we have to multiply with 5 by 18. So simplify this. 3 6 are 18. 5 by 6 meters per second. This is the relative speed. So security guard has to cover 120 meters to catch the cyclist, and the relative speed is 5 by 6. So 5 by 6. So simplify this. 120 multiply with 6 divide by 5. So this is 120 into 6. So otherwise we'll cancel it. 5 24s. And 24 6 144. So it will take 144 seconds for the security guard to catch the cyclist. So in this 144 seconds, cyclist will move at certain distance. So speed of the cyclist is 9 kilometers per hour. So we have to convert the speed of the cyclist into meters per second. We have to convert into meters per second by multiplying with 5 by 18. So 9 ones, 9 twos. So what is remaining here? 5 by 2, which is equals to 2.5. 2.5 meters per second is the speed of the cyclist. 2.5 meters per second. In 144 seconds, what is the distance traveled by cyclist? So distance covered by cyclist. Distance traveled by cyclist. In 144 seconds is 2.5 is the speed into time 144. So let us simplify this. 2.5 into 2. 2.5 into 4, let us take. 4 3s 12. 4 6 24. So 2.5 into 4 is 10. 10 into 36 is 360. 360 meters. This is the distance traveled by cyclist in 144 seconds. So the correct answer is option B is the correct answer. 360 meters. This is the distance traveled by cyclist in 144 seconds. Question number 26. A goods train leaves a station and travels at a constant speed. 4 hours later, a superfast train leaves the same station in the same direction at a speed of 72 kilometers per hour. The superfast train catches up with the goods train in 2 hours. What is the speed of the goods train? So here goods train traveled for 4 hours and then the superfast train starts. So after starting of the superfast train in 2 hours, it will catch the goods train. So that means the total time traveled by goods train is 4 plus 2, 6 hours. So let us assume the speed of the goods train as x. So let the speed of goods train we'll assume it as x kilometers per hour. So it is traveling for 6 hours. So the distance covered is x into 6. This is the distance covered by the goods train. And the same distance superfast train is also covering with a speed of 72 kilometers per hour in 2 hours. So this is the distance which is equal to 72 is the speed of the superfast train, and it is covering in the 2 hours itself. The distance is same in both the cases. So simplify this and x, that gives the speed of the goods train. So x is equals to 6 and 72 you can cancel 12 times. So x is equal to 12 to 24. So 24 kilometers per hour. Very simple. This is the speed of the goods train. 24 kilometers per hour. Option A is the correct answer. Question number 27. At 8 a.m., Rohan starts walking from his home towards the market at a speed of 5 kilometers per hour. At 10 a.m., Kiran starts from the same place on a bicycle at a speed of 9 kilometers per hour. At what time will Rohan be 4 kilometers behind Kiran? So here we have to find out the relative speed of Rohan as well as Kiran. Since they are traveling in the same direction, the difference of the speeds is the relative speed. So what is the relative speed here? So relative speed is the speed of the Rohan and speed of the Kiran. So speed of the Rohan. What is the speed of the Rohan? It is 5 kilometers per hour, and speed of the Kiran is 9 kilometers per hour. So the difference is 9 minus 5, 4 kilometers per hour. So this is the relative speed. Rohan is starting at 8 a.m. Kiran is starting at 10 a.m. So Kiran is starting 2 hours later. In these 2 hours, Rohan will travel some distance. He will walk some distance. What is the distance traveled by Rohan in 2 hours? Distance traveled by Rohan. In 2 hours. What's the speed? 5 kilometers per hour, and is traveling for 2 hours. So that is 10 kilometers. So Rohan will travel 10 kilometers. So after 10 kilometers, they will meet each other. Kiran has to cover this 10 kilometers in certain time. But here our question is not the time of meeting. So Rohan should be 4 kilometers behind Kiran. So the distance to be covered by Kiran is 4 kilometers more than Rohan. So distance to be covered by Rohan is 10 plus 4. 14 kilometers is the distance to be covered by Rohan. So in what time he will cover this distance? 14 kilometers he has to cover, and the relative speed is 4 kilometers per hour since they are traveling in the same direction. So if you simplify this, 14 by 4 is 2 sevens and 2's. 7 by 2, that is 3.5. 3.5 hours. So in 3.5 hours, Rohan will be 4 kilometers behind Kiran. So what time Kiran is starting? Kiran is starting at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. So for 10 a.m. we should add 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours if you add. So that will be after 10. If you add 2 hours, it will be 12 noon plus 1.5 hour. So that is 1:30 p.m. So 1:30 p.m. So at 1:30 p.m. Rohan will be 4 kilometers behind Kiran. So the correct answer is option D is the correct answer. Question number 28. Priya travels from city A to city B in 24 hours. She covers the first and third 1/4 of the total distance at 30 kilometers per hour. The second and fourth 1/4 at 18 kilometers per hour. What is the total distance traveled? So total distance, let us assume it as D. Total distance, we'll assume it as D. Total distance is D. So D kilometers is the total distance. So 1/4 is traveling at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour, first 1/4. So the time is distance by speed. This is the distance D by 4th, and the speed for the first quarter is 30 kilometers per hour. So this is the time for the first quarter, D by 4 into 30. Next, for the second quarter, the time is D by 4 into 18. The speed is 18 for the second quarter. Next, for the third quarter, D by 4 into 30 again, and for the fourth quarter again 18. So these are the timings for all the 4 quarters. So the total time is 24 hours. The total time is 24 hours. So simplify this and find the value of D. So D by 4 is common in all. D by 4 is common in all. So here 1 by 30 plus 1 by 30, 1 by 18 plus 1 by 18 is equals to 24 is the total time. So simplify within the bracket. So this is 1 by 30 plus 1 by 30 is 2 by 30. So 1 by 18 plus 1 by 18 is 2 by 18 is equals to 24. So this is 15s, this is 9s. So D by 4, LCM is for 15 and 9, LCM is 45. Divides 3 times, divides 5 times. So this is D by 4, 8 by 45 is equals to 24. So you can simplify 4 2's, and now D is equals to 24 into 45 by 2. So simplify this, D 2 12s, that is equals to 45 into 12, 12 5s 60, 12 4s 48, 48 plus 6, 54. So 540 kilometers. This is the distance between city A and city B. 540 kilometers. So option C is the correct answer. Question number 29. Two towns P and Q are 216 kilometers apart. Aman starts from P towards Q at 6 a.m. Bharat starts from Q towards P at 9 a.m. on the same day. Aman's speed is 50% greater than Bharat's speed. If they meet at 6 p.m., find Aman's speed. So there are two persons in this question. One is Aman and another is Bharat. So there are two persons. One is Aman and the other is Bharat. So Aman is traveling from P to Q and Bharat is traveling from Q to P. So Aman is starting at 6 a.m. and both Aman and Bharat are meeting at 6 p.m. So how many hours Aman is traveling from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.? That is 12 hours. So 12 hours is the time of traveling of Aman. But Bharat is starting at 9 a.m. and both Aman and Bharat are meeting at 6 p.m. So how many hours Bharat is traveling? From 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That is 9 hours is the time of traveling of Bharat. And one more clue is given here. Aman's speed is 50% greater than Bharat's speed. So Bharat's speed let us assume as x. So 9 into x, that is a distance covered by Bharat. Speed into time, that is a distance covered by Bharat. And distance covered by Aman is time is 12 hours, speed is 50% more. So 50% more means 1 plus 50 by 100. 1 plus 50 by 100. So that is 150 by 100. So if you simplify this, 3 by 2. 5 3s, 5 2s. So that is 3x by 2. This is the distance covered by Aman. It is 50% more. So now the total distance is 216 kilometers. Total distance is 216 kilometers. Simplify this and find the value of x. So x is nothing but speed of Bharat. So simplify this to 6 times. So this is 6 into 3x, 18x plus 9x is equals to 216. 18 plus 9, 27x is equals to 216. X is equal to 216 by 27. So this is 9 threes, again 9 twos, 9 fours, 3 eights. So what is remaining? 8 is remaining. X is 8. So 8 kilometers per hour. This is the speed of Bharat. Speed of Bharat. Speed of Bharat is 8 kilometers per hour. So but our question is speed of Aman. Speed of Aman. Speed of Aman is 50% more. So this should be multiplied by 3 by 2. So 8 into 3 by 2. So if you simplify 2 fours, so that is 4 into 3, 12. 12 kilometers per hour. This is speed of Aman. 12 kilometers per hour is speed of Aman. So option A is the correct answer. Question number 30. Buses leave a depot at a speed of 24 kilometers per hour at intervals of 12 minutes. A cyclist is riding towards the depot from the opposite direction and notices that he meets successive buses at intervals of 9 minutes. What is the speed of the cyclist? So time of traveling of the first bus. Time of distance traveled by the first bus. So speed of the bus is 24 kilometers per hour So distance traveled by first bus is 24 kilometers per hour into speed into time. Time is 12 minutes. So we have to convert into hours. That is 12 by 60 hours. So let us simplify this. So 12 ones, 12 fives. And 24 by 5, that is nothing but 4.8. 4.8. 5 fours and 5 eights. 4.8 kilometers. This is the distance traveled by the first bus in 12 minutes. And the cyclist is traveling in the opposite direction. Since the cyclist is traveling in the opposite direction, the relative speed is the sum of the speeds. Relative speed is the sum of the speeds. Relative speed of the bus and the cyclist. So speed of the bus is 24 and speed of the cyclist we don't know, that is x. So this is the relative speed. 24 plus x kilometers per hour. And the distance to be covered is 4.8 kilometers. So distance traveled by the first bus in 12 minutes is 4.8 kilometers. So this distance has to be covered by the cyclist. So the relative speed is 24 plus x. And the distance is covered in 9 minutes. Because the second bus he will touch the second bus in 9 minutes. So that means he is covering this distances in 9 minutes. So that is 9 by 60 hours. So everything we have to take it in hours. Simplify this and find the value of x. So this is 4.8 into 60. So that is 48 into 6. 6 sides are 48. 6 fours 24 plus 4 28 is 24 plus x into 9. 24 plus x. You can simplify this. 9 threes and 9 twos. So what is remaining? 24 plus x is equals to 32. X is equals to 32 minus 24, which is 8 kilometers per hour. This is the speed of the cyclist. Speed of the cyclist is 8 kilometers per hour. So option B is the correct answer. So these are some problems based on time, speed and distance. So far we have solved 30 questions on this concept of time, speed and distance. So we covered almost all the models. So if you come across any more models of questions on this topic, you can mention them in the comment box. So we'll try to cover them in the next sessions. So we'll meet in the next session with another topic. Thank you.